Alrighty. I know normally you can see me when I go live. However, today we were doing something a little bit different. And I realized last week that I got out of sequence in my numbers. And first day should have been 5, and today should have been 6. So, anyway, so we're kind of going backwards to go forwards. And today we're talking about fire and its role in the 10 essentials. And it's going to be number 5. So even though it seems like we're going backwards, we actually are going forwards. We're actually over halfway done in our 10 essentials now. My name is Craig, also known as the Natural Medic. Kind of stick my head here. Hello. And we are covering these 10 essentials to help you be more safe in the outdoors. I do welcome you to my live broadcast here on Wild Wednesday, the 3rd of March. I apologize for the noise. I'm out in the side yard here. We got somebody drilling and we got dogs barking and stuff like that. Hopefully that's not too distracting. But anyway, and if you're watching this replay, welcome. Thanks for being here. And I appreciate your time to learn about the 10 essentials. So let's get started. So let's talk about fire. We're looking at the burn pile here in the yard. That's a bunch of old sticks and stuff from the trees. It's a beautiful spring-like day here in East Texas. It's approximately, I would say, somewhere in the 60s. I don't know the exact temperature, but just from my feeling itself, it's in the 60s. It's a nice spring day, so it's nice outside. And if you've been around my broadcast for the last couple of times, we've had some extreme weather in Texas. We had about 2 weeks ago, we had a kind of a freak snowstorm, and then right after the snowstorm, we got pelted by the rains for about close to a week, and probably got a significant amount of rainfall. This whole yard out here looked like a lake. So anyway, moving on. So some of this stuff may not light very well, but we're going to try to go past that. Anyway, so what do you need to have a good fire? You need to have fuel. And what I mean by fuel is you need to have something to burn. So in this case, we're talking about wood. You need to have oxygen. You need to have heat. If any of those elements come out of what they call the fire triangle, the fire will go out. But in a survival situation, you may need to have a fire. You may need to have a fire for warmth. You may need to have a fire for signaling. You may need to have a fire for purifying water or cooking food if you're out there an extended period of time. So let's talk about how we get there. The first thing you need is what we call tinder. Tinder is very small pieces of wood, like little sticks and things like that. I've got just kind of a little gathering of them right here. Okay, tinder. All right. And next we have called kindling, a little bit bigger pieces of wood. And then finally we have the bigger pieces where we won't get to in a big fire today. This is fuel. So that's big pieces of wood. And normally you would, in an ideal situation, you would cut those up. Now, if you're wanting to practice this at home, number one, make sure that you can have a fire. There are some communities out there that don't let you have fire. And make sure that my notifications are turned off. I don't think they are. And now they're turned off. Anyway, so make sure that you can have fire. Make sure that you can practice it in a safe manner. In a fire pit, don't ever have a fire indoors because of not only the smoke, but also you have carbon monoxide release when you burn a fire. And if you get that indoors, you can't taste it, smell it, anything like that. You can't detect it with your senses, and it can overwhelm you and ultimately kill you. So don't do that. And like I said, make sure that you're obeying your local laws and ordinances about burning a fire. Don't burn a fire outside or anywhere other than it's supposed to be done. But you definitely need to practice before you get out into a situation where you need to do, make a fire. So anyway, we've covered elements of fire. So let's talk about different tools and devices that you can use to make fire. One of the go-to things that I like to use is just a good old Bic lighter. They're cheap, they're easy to acquire, they're reliable. Even if I have had these, in my pants and washed them, they still will light. And actually, after getting wet, they will light and make a fire. They're very simple in design. They're not really designed to be refillable, but you can, I believe, refill them. I've never refilled one, but they're cheap and easy. You can get them for probably $1 or so in your convenience store, depending on what size you get and what the design is and that kind of thing. Maybe a couple bucks, depending on where you live. Anyway, those are nice and handy. Another thing you might want to pick up is some chapstick. And you're probably wondering, why would you pick up chapstick for a fire? But we'll get to that in a minute. But chapstick is another thing to pick up. Usually you can get that same place you would get your Bic lighter for like $1. Okay. Another thing that you might want, easily obtainable, whether you do your clothes laundering at home or you do them at a laundromat, you can probably get the lint out. Okay. Get you a little Ziploc baggie and save your lint, because that will come in handy in just a second. Okay. As I said, the lint here, this is a little bit different. This is just a piece of lint that I pulled off. I used the chapstick to coat it to make it flammable. And that provides a fire starter even when you're in wet conditions. You will see in just a minute how well that lights. Okay. And here's a device. It's not really that common, but you can find these on Amazon and I'm sure Walmart.com, other places. It's just a little capsule lighter deal that has a little keychain thing you can put on your keychain. And what it does is you pull it out here. I can get a hold of it. Uh-oh. I didn't mean to pull it out like that. I think I just broke it. But anyway, ideally, when it doesn't break, I guess this one's kind of a piece of junk here. But it's supposed to be a pocket fire starter that you can carry with you. But it doesn't appear this one's going to work, so scratch that. Okay, here's another thing. This is a candle. Looks like a regular candle. This is actually a emergency candle, so it burns a little bit longer. So however it's designed, it burns up to about 8 hours, and that's something handy to have. I have a pouch here from my Boy Scout days. You can see the emblem there. Flint and steel. And of course, you're not required to have all this stuff. This is just stuff I've built up over the years. There's some things right there we'll talk about in a minute. But I've got the flint rock in here. There's a steel rod in here. I wasn't able to get it to spark a while ago. However, in here I've got a flint match, which is just some little cotton plugs that have different well, what does it say here? It has a cube that has lighter fluid, and you just strike it on there like a match. And it has the little cotton plugs that are fire starters that are in there. I've had this thing a long time. Not sure if it even works. I know it doesn't have any fluid in it, but that's something you might want to have at some point. Then here I also have some more lint, and I have some steel wool. Steel wool I'll talk about in another video, but it actually can be used as a fire starter as well. Now the flint and steel in this kit, I've never been able to get it to work. It was kind of one of those things that I had for Wilderness Survival Merit Badge, like way back in the day. But a similar thing to it is this device right here. This is just what we call a fire rod or a ferro rod. This is just a steel striker right here. So what you can do with this is you can make fire. Well, you can make a spark. That will make a fire. Probably see that. Making a spark. Pretty cool. Lightweight. really will, doesn't matter if it's wet or dry, it'll still make a spark. This is just a steel rod that you use to strike that flint. Now it does wear out. You can see it kind of wearing on there. It will wear out eventually. That's handy and easy to carry to start fires. We'll try to do that here in a minute. Another device here is called well, most people would call it a magnifying glass, but it's a Fresnel lens. I've heard it pronounced both ways, but it actually can be used to start fires. If you have very intense heat from the sun and good sunlight, which I don't have over here, you can use it to focus a beam on there and start a fire that way. Okay, and what else do we have? Oh yeah, we've got a lighter here. It's a company called Atomic Lighter, or the device is called Atomic Lighter. I believe the company is, I don't recall, but anyway, you push that. You might not be able to see that on camera, but you push that, you can probably hear that, and it makes a little piezoelectric fire right there, and that reasonably will work in a situation where you had to light a fire. We can try it down here on this little piece of lint with chapstick on it. Okay, we have fire. So what we can do with that lint with the fire on it, put some sticks on it. And it makes a fire. Might take us a moment. We are getting some fire. But you can start you a fire pretty easily by doing that. Just get you a pile of tinder, the little sticks and twigs like that. Break them off a branch. They burn better if they are dry and they are not green, but you can make non-dry and non-green branches burn pretty easily. Okay, so we are getting a little bit of a fire there. It's taking a minute. It was trying to make a liar out of me, but it's working. Okay. Just keep piling that up. We will have a fire. What you want to think about in the wilderness or in the more primitive situation, you want to build a fire that is big enough for whatever your needs are. If your needs are to keep warm, you need to build a fire that's big enough for you to keep warm. If it's a fire that you need to cook on, build a fire that's warm enough to cook on. If you need to purify water, you need to make it where it will boil water so you can purify your water. Okay, simple enough. Now a couple other things that I'll show you is, let's do this with some dry. We're over here. And let me try this the other way around. Okay, we got fire. Didn't take much. So this is a very simple tool, very inexpensive too. I'm going to put links to these products in the description as soon as I can. And that way you'll have them. But fire is very important in the 10 Essentials because it serves so many functions. Fire can obviously keep us warm. It's not a very big fire, but it's hot. It can keep us warm. It can purify water. It can allow us to cook food, and just provides a general level of comfort. Also, there's some semblance of it. It will keep away the wild animals. So if you're in an environment where you have animals, dangerous animals trying to get you, then you're able to do that, or use fire for that as well. So anyway, I hope that kind of gives you an idea of how easy it is to do a fire. As I said, practice this yourself under safe conditions. Make sure it's allowed in your jurisdiction wherever you happen to be. Don't light fires inside. The best thing to do is, a nice calm day. It's pretty calm today. Practice under a controlled environment. Have a fire pit or build your own fire pit. Get some cement blocks and put it around an area, on the ground, so that you can start a fire. But like I said, just make sure that it's safe for yourself and other people, and it's allowed by your jurisdiction. Don't break the law just to practice your fire building skills. But anyway, I hope that what I've shared today has been helpful for you. If I would have added more to this, of course, it would keep burning. I mean, it's still very hot, and could keep it burning. But a lot of this has been pretty soaked by the rain, so I'm not going to worry about it today. If it does end up catching, then that's great. Burns up my brush pile. But otherwise, I'm gonna call it a day. I appreciate y'all's attention. As always, like and subscribe if you're liking the content that you're getting. Tell other people about the Facebook group. The group is called the Natural Medic Outdoors. It's available on Facebook if you search for that. My YouTube channel is the Natural Medic 44. I'm trying to change the title on that, but I haven't got around to doing that yet, but I'm working on it. And then if you're on YouTube and watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe so that I can give you more content like this if you like it. Anyway, thank you again for your attention. I appreciate your time today, and have a great rest of your week.